when did you play basketball?
My whole life. It's my first love.
Is it?
Yep. Ball was life. As a kid, middle school, high school, yeah, it was my life. Love basketball.
What did you play a specific position, or were you just kind of all over the place?
I mean, I was probably best fit to play I could play any position till you start putting 7-footers on the court.
Yeah, that's
which I have had to play against some guys that was that tall. But one of the things for me was, I was stronger. So, but the 2 and the 3, the point guard, shooting guard, and I could play small forward.
I played. I was always on the wings because I had that shot on the wing. And
you could shoot it, huh?
I had it down.
Yeah.
Until everybody started catching. I was really strong, from I'd say 6 until about 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then it kind of flatlined.
Yeah.
I plateaued.
I understand. I played with a guy in high school who went straight to the NBA out of high school, and it made me grounded on what it took to get there.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been the same height since my freshman year. And once I saw I wasn't getting up to 6'4", 6'5", I was like, yeah, I'm small in the NBA.
Yeah. You're like, okay, then I got to cut out sodas. And then...
Yeah, then reality hit, and I was like, I can still go to college and play. But I was a realist at an early age, which kind of helped me to accept the fact that I wasn't going to the NBA.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good to be humbled.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The team who deal with reality win.
That's right. Well, thanks for coming, Taylor.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I've heard you speak a couple times, and I'm familiar with your work, so I'm just so impressed by you.
Thank you.
And I love your story, and I'm inspired by your story. So I'm
excited
to have you on here because I want others to hear about it.
Oh, well, I hope I inspired them.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So, okay, now we know that your love of basketball. We got that down. And then, did you grow up in Dallas?
I did. Born and raised.
Were you born and raised in Oak Cliff?
Okay, let me be honest. I wasn't born in Dallas. That wasn't my fault, though.
Yeah, you had nothing to do with that.
I had nothing to do with that. I was born in Fort Worth, actually.
Okay.
And never lived in Fort Worth. Was born in Fort Worth and brought home to Oak Cliff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean,
it is. My wife give me flack about it, though. She said, you always saying you born and raised. You weren't even born in Dallas.
Oh, my God. That's a technicality. I'd give you some grace on that.
Yeah, she does, but she don't let me make it on that one, though. But no, I was grown up in Dallas my entire life, raising my family, and, my wife and I raising our children in Oak Cliff. And
congrats to a new baby recently, right?
Yeah, Taylor Jr.
Taylor Jr.
Yeah. But yeah, this is, this whole area where we are right now, I enjoy living in a city that I know. I don't use GPS to get where I'm going. So Dallas native.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice. So, so you grew up here and then you went to school here, right? You went to UNT.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to SMU and got your master's education.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Pegasus.
Okay, nice. I like it. And then you got into education, right?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a transition to get to education. I actually worked at the district attorney's office for 2.5 years out of undergrad. I was a victim's advocate in the family violence division there, and from there, my aspirations was to go to law school, and I read the article, The Cradle to Prison Pipeline, and I saw the zip code I grew up in at the top with the most people incarcerated, and then, dismal college readiness data point, and I made up in my mind I didn't really want to be an attorney anymore. I mean, I did want to be an attorney, but I felt the reason I wanted to be an attorney was to make impact. And once I saw that data, I had met Miguel Solis at the same time. And, I saw his impact and I was like, what did you do? And he said, I did Teach for America and I was able to work with these kids, yada, yada. And I applied for TFA.
Wow.
He wrote me a letter of recommendation and it helped me get in, I believe. But I was able to be placed here in Dallas and then to teach in Oak Cliff. I could have ended up anywhere in America.
That's incredible. Are you serious? They placed you and that's where they placed you?
Yeah, that's where they placed me, at Bushman Elementary School.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, nothing was the same after that.
I mean, seriously, like the chances of that happening are unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. I'm thankful that it did. My wife and I both went into education at the same time. She started teaching that year as well at Skyline at our high school,
Okay.
and I got to be in elementary school at Bushman. And yeah, I was then educated myself
I'm sure. So, what are some of the things that you learned through that experience?
as a teacher.
Yeah.
Man, I think teachers are probably like the the Swiss Army knife of any profession. I think if you can make it in a classroom, it's nothing that you can't go do, because you have to serve in so many different roles, but also it's goals in place, metrics that you have to abide by. But for the most part, what I learned at that time was listening to our youth. They got the answers. They just might need some help getting us there. But if we're all, always concerned about what the next thing is, or making a better world, why not talk to the ones who gonna have to live in it?
Right.
Because a lot of times as adults, we end up making decisions for young people and we don't even know what they thinking. We think we do. We basing it off of what we thought when we were kids, or what data says, or what this article says, without, actually taking the time to talk to them. And I was able to do that at Bushman, and the kids in that classroom changed my life forever. We birthed 4 Cliff out of there. And yeah, I really learned, it grew me up too, I would say. It grew me up, and it made me understand how severe the work that we needed to do was.
Wow. So, you started at 4 Cliff. So how long were you teaching?
I taught for 2 years.
Okay. That's all you needed.
Yeah. I mean, that's not all I don't know.
That's all you needed to know that you needed to do 4 Cliff.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So what was it specifically about that experience that that made you know that that's where you needed to spend your time and energy?
I think some of the best things ever in life, or best inventions that we ever have seen, came from a problem. My problem was my students were not showing up with pencils and paper every day, and it was frustrating as the teacher, but also frustrating to understand the why behind it. So it really just started out with, like, let's throw this back to school event to get my classroom some school supplies. My classroom was the first mindset. Had a phone call with a friend, told him I needed some help. I told him I wanted to do a block party, and we said we'd call it 4 Cliff on that call.
I love that.
Yeah, and then, we just organically began organizing, and it grew and grew and grew. And in that moment, I thought, well, if we're going to give kids school supplies, then that means their parents have to come. What are we going to have for the parents? And as a committee, we began to think it through, and we came up with a voter registration drive, job fair, college fair, school supply giveaway. At 4 Cliff now, we believe in a dual gen approach to education, where we work with the whole family. And, we were doing that then, wasn't calling it that, but we just knew we wanted to capture the parent and the child at the same time. And, that first back to school festival in August of 2015, it was an amazing thing. I thought, this festival was, I was just happy that it happened, with all the partners who came on to support it, the funders that funded it, the community that donated. But I also understood too that one day event wasn't going to eradicate the overall issues that we had identified. And that's when we began to even start more strategically organized towards building, a whole movement with the org or 501c3 structure.
Wow. Yeah, because when you look at it now, I mean, I read back on that event, and how many people showed up, you think, on the first event in 2015?
Like 1,500.
Yeah, 1,500. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that
first
itself
time
shows you like the need. 1,500. Right. right out of the gate.
Right.
And then now how many people are
Well,
coming
last
out?
time we had it outside, it was about 6,000 people out there.
6,000. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And that was 2 years ago. So we haven't hosted a festival in person since 2019. So hopefully we can do it this summer.
I'm sure. Yeah. Hopefully you can too. Hopefully. So, I mean, that's pretty unbelievable for it to start like that, to have that much impact from day one. And
Right.
clearly there's a need. And that's just one small piece of what Four Oak Cliff is doing now. So I know you all moved from, you were kind of in a retail kind of strip center.
Right.
And then you moved into the old YMCA,
Right.
which is an awesome
Thank you.
spot. Actually, my kids were playing soccer on that soccer field.
Really?
Yeah. My youngest now, I guess she's still playing, but we haven't done it in a while because of COVID. But
With Eloy.
yeah, with Eloy. Yeah. And so I actually I walked in one day and Michael gave me a tour.
Michael Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave me a tour of the whole place. Which was incredible. I mean, it's 2 stories. It's you got a basketball gym in there.
Yep.
So talk about how it's grown. What kind of stuff are you doing now?
Man, you saying Fort Oak Cliff or the new building?
Well, let's start with Four Oak Cliff.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's grown exponentially year after year, you know. I never know what the future holds with Fort Oak Cliff because, you know, such an amazing organization that God continues to bless us with so many opportunities. For example, our new space. I remember the day though, you know, just getting an office space in our original spot. Office was probably as big as this room. You know, it was like 250 square feet. The first office space that we got back in 2017. And, you know, I was happy. I didn't have any furniture, got some donated furniture, had, you know, some carpet down, and just was happy to have a space that I had a key for Fort Oak Cliff that people could come into in the shopping center that I grew up in. So my grandfather had a convenience store in that shopping center when I was a child.
Oh, that's cool.
And I grew up on the street behind there on East Pentagon. So that was all just, you know, an amazing opportunity for me. But I always had a vision in my head about what could be. And, you know, in 2018, the Real Estate Council in their ALC class did about a $400,000 build out of our space. And it was amazing. You know, we were ahead of schedule. We knew that we wanted to improve the community center. We was like, want to build out a community center. We acquired another space in the shopping center, which gave us about 4,000 square feet in total. And then we were able to, you know, renovate and make this state-of-the-art community center in 2018. And I thought that was, you know, we were so far ahead of schedule with that. I was like, yeah, this is going to serve us for the next 5 to 10 years for sure. And that wasn't God's plan. You know, 2020, the opportunity for the YMCA came up. And, you know, we put in our application or our bid to be the entity that the YMCA would choose, and they chose us. And just that growth in itself over time, you know, to go from, I couldn't even fathom getting that building. Like I could see that the YMCA from my front yard as a kid. It's across the creek from the house I grew up in. And that was something that, you know, I just never even thought was a possibility. And here we are now, you know, getting ready to open the doors in the spring for programming for adults and children. So the growth has just been, you know, man, it's been an amazing growth. It's a lot that comes with it. But stepping into the responsibility is something that I'm very conscious of and want to make sure that that we are serving in the way that our community needs to be served, because I feel that Fort Oak Cliff is that organization, that vessel org that that is going to be able to provide a lot of opportunities to people in our neighborhood.
Yeah, because, you know, I was looking at your website last night and looking at your vision statement or your mission statement, which is incredible in itself, as we aim to liberate Oak Cliff from systemic oppression. You know, it's just, that's a big vision, right? You know, I mean, you talk about it from that one classroom and knowing that you could do that one program, but that wasn't going to do it. That you had to keep working, keep building your programs. Now you have this big facility. And talk to us a little bit about, I know you have 4 pillars, a part of 4 Oak Cliff that really kind of narrow in on how you're going to achieve that. What are those 4 pillars?
Education, advocacy, community building, and the arts. And those, we look at those as the vehicles that move the work forward. I mean, the arts pillar, we literally shot a movie on this corner.
Really?
It's a store. I don't know if it's still here or not, but yeah, we shot a movie over here with a friend of mine back in, what was that, like 2017? But randomly, he was an educator too, and he said, man, I want to go to film school. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about film school. It sounds cool to me. And he wrote a short film for his application, and we used some of my students for the film, and we shot a scene right over here. It's called Hoop Dreaming, and he got into USC Film School.
No way.
Yeah, and he's graduated from there now, doing some other remarkable things within film, literature, and music. But yeah, the arts, I mean, I'm just thinking about that right now. But, in education, we offer a GED class for adults or whoever needs to get their GED. Right now, 40% of individuals in our area don't have a GED or a high school diploma. So we believe that that's a leak within the, pipeline to success that we can help repair. And we're looking to provide so many educational opportunities for youth in our space. So, from whether that's within technology, whether that's in sports, whether that's in gaming, whatever, we're trying to bring in enrichment to our youth. I believe in people being curious and forever learners. So we want to always provide spaces where people can educate themselves. And then, the advocacy is twofold. We work with individuals directly to provide counseling, to provide casework, help them just in the general day-to-day life. But then we also look at advocacy from, the policy side of things, like helping individuals in our community to understand what particular policies are and how they can change, what's happening. These are the long-term concrete changes that make a difference. For example, like advocating for a new park, being able to get individuals to get in on that. I believe that having those parks, improving the quality of life for our community is essential. And then the community building, I think, ties it all in. I think that's what our space is. When I think of that at its core, community building is bringing people together in one space. And our new facility is able to do that in the events that we provide as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, so the firm I work for, Studio Outside, worked on the South Oak Cliff Renaissance Park, which seeing that, being a part of that transformation and that story is just really, really cool to be a part of that.
Indeed.
Because, just seeing the impact of that small sliver of space, which is kind of just no man's land space, and turning it into a community asset where, community members can use it, students can use it, South Oak Cliff High School, 8 to 80, anybody can use it. But it does. I think you talked about this at the ribbon cutting about how it provides hope. And I think that's such a powerful message that some people just simply overlook, that a park would provide hope. And especially, people in more privileged households or neighborhoods just take that park for granted. So it's been cool just to be a part of that and see that.
Yeah, that's what brought the Jedis back, right? A new hope.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, and the dual generation thing is really, really cool too, and something I'd never really, really thought about, because you see a lot of programs that do focus on the children or focus on the adults, but not focusing on both together.
Right.
So is that something that you all had conceptualized, or is that something that's pretty prevalent in other community building type organizations?
It's not as prevalent as it should be.
Yeah.
I think that every program should operate from that lens. I mean, mostly everything we see is single gen.
Right.
And when you look at our education system, no matter whether it's adult or youth, it's single gen. Most of the stuff that we see and provide in community is set that way. because that's what people thought worked. But there has been, a movement within the dual gen space. There are some other organizations that are doing the work intentionally and unintentionally. But I believe that when we can focus on not just individual metrics of a kid to say like, okay, we're going to get you, reading at a third grade literacy level, or a parent saying, okay, we're going to get you an at-wage job or get you just employed, But what is it like? Because all those things could be happening independently of one another. But what about the household?
Right.
What I love to see is, we may have someone in our GED class and they have children. Now you think about the culture of that household. When you have a parent that's there studying, and you also got a kid that's doing homework, the parent is their success in GED sometimes can be them having a job or not, or them having a substantial pay raise. So they have a true incentive at the end of that degree or that certificate that they receive. So for the child to see the parent motivated in that way, and it's not just them sitting at home watching TV or whatever, like they both are, kind of encouraging one another. And a lot of our youth, in different households haven't seen a graduation. And for some of these kids to see their parent as the first graduate, they don't know what it is that they're getting, but they know it's a big deal. It's a ceremony that's taking place for my parent. That's just some inspiration for them as well. And that's what we want to do. We want to grow a culture of education. We want to grow that in the households. We want to make sure that they're doing these things together. And it also reduces the stress level for families. Why have a GED class for a demographic of people or age group of people that we know majority of them have children, but we don't have any enrichment for a child, or it's just like a waiting room that a kid gonna be sitting in? Like, let's be intentional about it. Or if a kid is coming in for enrichment or anything, for example, like you said, your child was up there for soccer, right? In a perfect world at Fort Oak Cliff, if you drop your kid off for soccer, we need you to be doing something. Either go be volunteering to plant a garden, come in and tutor other kids that might be in tutoring sessions, getting a Zumba class, but be active with your child at the same time, because that then enhances y'all's relationship. You're not just sitting,
Right.
you were doing something. Y'all can talk about that on the way home.
Right.
And that's, to me, overall well-being and wellness for a family is what's important.
For sure. I mean, just that example alone of you saying the parent going in to study the GED and the kid being in the waiting room. I mean, it's, that's just a no-brainer. Being able to enrich that child's life during that time. I mean, I can just feel that positive energy coming from that example right there. That's awesome. So, I know you. So obviously this program is really important. So how are you able to? What programs do y'all have to bring people in and support people? And how do you get the word out on that?
Yeah, we have. So programming has changed because of the space we're in, but the GED is definitely one. We have some workforce trainings that we're about to start within the medical profession, because that area has the highest amount of jobs openings right now. So we have a phlebotomy class that'll be starting at Fort Oak Cliff in partnership with Methodist Hospital, where we're going to, guarantee individuals a job at the end of the program. We got a lot that's coming up for our youth. The one thing I'm really excited about is to be able to have sports at Fort Oak Cliff, be able to have a basketball team, a swim team, like to have those in the building. We're getting into the world of gaming as well. We're building out a tech lounge and gaming lounge for young people to come in and get involved with. And then we just, got a space just to be, like sometimes you just need to be.
Just relax.
Yeah. We got 10 acres of land for individuals to just be. And that's really important for us. But we're planning on doing a lot in these next couple of months. Summer camp will be starting in June. At the end of this month, actually, with a program we started at Zoom while middle school, we'll be screening a film at the Texas Theater free to come to that if you
Yeah,
like
I
to.
know. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's a Black History film that we're showing. It's called Meteor Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but you know, it's the first Black superhero I remember
Oh, nice.
seeing. It's a Robert Townsend film. It's gonna be cool to introduce young people to, and you know, jog the memory of those who remember those days.
Right. That's
So
cool.
yeah, it's a lot of programming, and we try to listen to the community as well to see what the needs are from the people. But you know, trying to fill the gap and serve in every way we can.
That's awesome. Well, I know you talked about sports and made me think of Ezekiel Elliott, because I
Right.
know he's a big fan and supporter of the organization.
Oh yeah, Zeke, that's our man. $100,000 right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, Zeke's been a really good supporter.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure that's got to be pretty magical for kids to be able to see Zeke come in with
Yeah.
new shoes and,
Right.
you know, coming in and just,
By the time Zeke brought the shoes, he was he was Zeke to the kids, you know?
Right.
It wasn't one of those things where it's like, you know, Zeke came and was gone. Like they knew Zeke. Like when he came in, they were like catching up. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, hey, oh, he coming again. No, it was catching up, talking about things. Some of the kids was talking noise to him about playing ball. So it's cool.
that's cool. That's pretty amazing. So I know you're, and I don't know what year this was, but the Echoing Green Fellowship, and you were
Yeah.
awarded that. Can you talk a little bit about that? And
Yeah, Echo and Green, you know, it's an international fellowship that myself and Xavier Henderson were selected for. Got some very notable alumni that have come through there and done some amazing things. Off top, I'm gonna say Michelle Obama is a fellow of Echo and Green. Michael Brown, who started City Year as well, that came through Echo and Green. Van Jones. It's been some amazing folks, but it's a lot of great work that's taking place around the world. You know, we were part of a fellowship. The pandemic robbed us because we wasn't able to get in person with these people, but we have virtual spaces. But yeah, it's always insightful for me to see what people are doing across the globe, you know, because sometimes we get so caught up into our day-to-day reality that, you know, we don't open our minds to what the other possibilities are. I think it's power in that, collectively building together and learning what other people are going through and dealing with and how they're prevailing. One thing that is important to me is not getting caught. I know it's important to identify the root cause problem of things, but I don't like to get stuck there. We like to be solution oriented and dig towards what are the root cause to the solutions that need to be applied. And I think the more that you collaborate, the better chances you'll come up with some solution oriented goals.
that's pretty cool. So what is that program like? Is it like a 1 year? Is it like a lifetime deal? Is it?
I mean, you know, you a lifetime member, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, they elect new fellows annually, but it's a 2-year program.
Okay.
So for us, you know, we just finished up our Echo and Green experience, I guess you could say. But yeah, they select new people every year for, you know, it's so many different ventures that are in there. So many different things from, you know, Black women in tech to public safety. You know, it's people that are working on city design. Yeah, it's an amazing space. But I think the most important thing is that they're uplifting people from the communities, you know, and providing financial resources as well, but also empowering people to know that you're the genius level expert for whatever problem it is that you're trying to solve. And that's something that Cheryl Dorsey often, you know, says. And I really appreciate that encouragement, because you know, we are the genius experts at the issues that we're working towards.
Right.
So it's important that people know that, and that they can bet on themselves and know that they can come up with the right solutions.
Yeah, that's empowering. I'm sure that gives you energy and hope, like you're talking about, and kind of motivates you to keep moving forward.
Right.
So with that particular program, in traditional years without COVID, would you be traveling?
Yeah, we would have went to New York like 3 times.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you'll get like, maybe you can be an honorary classmate for this
That
next.
something.
You need something.
Right,
Yeah.
something. I mean, I think, and that's just New York. I think that some of the other classes is going other places because it's an international fellowship. Because we could end up in Kenya or anywhere, or the people coming, in the next years. But yeah, we didn't get to do that.
So in your particular class, how many people are there?
I think it was like 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was about 20.
So I assume that's a place where, obviously, like you said, you're learning from each other, and hopefully then it can also be a support system.
Right.
That's
It
cool.
definitely was. It definitely was. And it also was great exposure because, we became a group of tight-knit individuals building relationships. So, people would be getting certain connections that may not pertain to them, but you might pop up in their head and say like, hey, this is something that I think that this person should be working with or working towards. And it would always be, presenting opportunities in that way.
That's cool. So was there anybody in particular in that group that impacted you more than others, or?
Anybody in my group particularly impacted me more than others? There's a woman in India that was doing some work with, stop signs and red lights. It wasn't so much her work. I mean, it was amazing work that she was doing, but it was her temperament of everything and how, just, I don't know, her culture. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And to actually be working with someone, that's thinking about community in a whole nother country, in a whole nother continent. For me, it was enlightening. There was a lot of people in Africa that were doing work, and just to hear them talk about, just some of the regular things that they deal with culturally, just in life, it made the world feel smaller to me a little bit, I guess you could say. But yeah, it was cool for me, that exposure.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, especially India.
Right.
I mean, I just have a visual in my head of India of just people everywhere.
Right.
Lots of browns and reds. And,
yep, me too. Yeah.
And just like cars and motorcycles and honking. And so stoplights and stop signs in India sounds like that would be a pretty important thing to have for safety. And
exactly. Came from a problem that she's trying to solve. And she's doing some amazing work. Wow.
That's cool. So was that something that that you applied for that?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Xavier and I applied for Echo and Green, and it's a pretty big deal to get selected to it. And thankfully, they believed in our work, and not only for us being fellows, but for Fort Oak Cliff, because Echo and Green, I mean, they have relationships with everyone. They had a report just on the disparity in funding for Black-led or minority-led organizations that a lot of different foundations and corporations are using, and that Echo and Green is who they're citing. And we've seen times where we were applying for funding and they brought up that research.
Wow.
And we're a fellow of that organization, which, some legitimacy that came to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been helpful.
For sure. Man, that's amazing. So what program are you working on right now that you're really excited about? Is there anything that's new, or anything that you've been working on for a while that's come to fruition maybe that you're excited about?
It is. We're actually having a farmer's market start next month.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll be having a farmer's market start up in the spring.
And now you got a big parking lot. And,
exactly.
Or you could do it on the green, I guess.
Yeah, people gonna park on the grass. Yeah, they park on the grass. I know it's gonna be overflow of individuals, but we don't have a grocery store in our neighborhood. But this will help. A little bit to be able to have that once a month, and then also what it'll be able to do for the farmers who are bringing their products to the farmers market. That's the one that's top of mind. I'm looking forward to this North Texas Collaborative for the phlebotomy classes. And then really, man, this week, what day was that? Thursday, we had the WWE. No, Wednesday, I'm sorry. The WWE came and they brought Booker T, a Hall of Famer, but we were able to have youth in our building. And just having those young people in there was like encouraging and just grounding to remember, like, okay, the kids are coming.
Right.
And that's where the joy is. So I'm excited to have kids in the building.
I bet. So that you think that's going to start in June, or will it be even sooner? That
No, it'll be sooner. So we're actually also about to do a court unveiling. We're redoing our gym right now.
Nice.
Yeah, and that unveiling will be March 28th.
Okay.
And it's up after that.
And so when I was getting a tour, I saw Maverick stuff everywhere. Are the Mavericks a partner too, or
They are.
Okay, nice.
They are. Yeah, they're doing a court, and this is going to be one of the most special community courts they've ever done.
Wow.
So if you're free on the 27th, you should come.
Yeah, I gotta put all these dates in.
Yeah, March 27th.
Okay,
that
March
evening.
27th. Got it. That's awesome. Well, the farmers market is super exciting.
It is.
Because it is kind of crazy that there aren't there's food deserts and there aren't grocery stores, and so people who live in Oak Cliff have to drive. Sometimes 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Quality food.
Yeah, for some quality food.
It's very disheartening.
Yeah, which is insane.
It is. I mean, insane is a word that you could use. But in reality, to me, it's almost genocide.
Right.
That's just what it looks like to me. We lead North Texas. It's one of the most unhealthy zip codes. And we know the number one medicine for that is the food you eat. But yet, there's been no investment into a grocery store in a real way,
Yeah.
I can't think of any other way to think about it. I know I've heard people describe it as food apartheid. I think that we've seen that part. I mean, just in the general, just the way it is. But when you have bodies being lost because of healthy access to food or access to healthy food, and that there are things that can be done, I don't know. To me, my reality of it too is that I have, elders in my family who have died behind, poor eating habits. Essentially, everyone at this point has seen it, and it's something that, if we don't approach it in an extreme, radical manner, and it's not gonna change the way that it needs to, because this is an extreme problem. So why not be radical about the way in which we change it? So that's where I'm at with it. I know people might think to say genocide might be harsh, but that's how I see it. That's my reality.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the statistics, it's like diabetes, it's heart failure, it's all these number one causes of death, and it does. It comes from what you're eating, what you're putting in your body.
Right.
And if you don't have access to that, and you're in Dallas, Texas.
You're in Dallas, yeah.
We're not in India.
We're not. It's 20 billionaires that live here.
Yeah. Which is, when you really think of it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm hopeful about it. I believe that everything happens in God's divine timing and order. And I think that, I know that we're a resilient community. Like you said, we're Dallas. I think Dallas is a resilient space. I think, the more that people are being, the more the light is shined on it, I think the more that we'll see people step up to the plate to make a difference. And I believe a quality grocery store is in the making. I don't know for sure, but I got hope that it's going to happen.
Well, I think, organizations like yours that are making an impact, that are working, like you said, to find solutions, that are integrating, communities and people who live in different communities or being able to experience Oak Cliff and the people that live in Oak Cliff. I think building those connections and those relationships so we can have these conversations and we can uncover things that have been there forever, but maybe, someone like me who's lived in a neighborhood with a grocery store right next to me, that I haven't had to understand the realities of that, to be able to go and talk to somebody and form relationships to understand that, that to me gives me hope.
Yeah. I mean, collectively, that's what it takes.
Yeah. Well, the farmers market idea is an incredible idea, obviously, and bringing farmers into the community and having that fresh food there. I mean, talk about hope and optimism and excitement and education. And it's like your 4 pillars right there, just in the farmers market.
Right. It's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to those Saturdays and all the things that'll come of it. People could be out doing yoga, kids out playing. It's going to be some joy out there.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So as far as the education piece, DISD has been trying to go through, I know you worked with Commit partnership for a while, and then, DISD has gone through transformation over the years, trying to get better, trying to, increase pay for teachers and give teachers better resources, but obviously there's still a long way to go. But as far as, and obviously you have a relationship with Miguel Solis and seeing what he's done, but do you think that what DISD is doing with the choice schools and changing that a little bit is moving us in the right direction? I mean, obviously we still have a long way to go, but.
I think innovation is always important. I think everything, moderation, healthy balance is always what you would want to strike. But I also know, that it's important for options to be there for a parent. My daughter goes to Harry Stone Elementary School, which is a Montessori. I went to Skyline High School, which is the first magnet in the United States of America. I don't think anyone should be binded to a neighborhood of their school. Now, I do believe that it is power in keeping kids in their neighborhood as well and building that community. But, options are always good, to be able to have that. But I don't think that it's necessary. I think that with the choice schools, the one thing that we do have to make sure of is that we keep our schools as a community space, because kids are going to be in them regardless. But how are the schools benefiting the community? Like not just with the kids that are going there, but the school is one of the safest places that you can think of in a neighborhood. It's the one convening space that we know people are going all the time. So just making sure that the surrounding neighbors of those schools are doing their responsibility and supporting those campuses is essential too.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that Trust for Public Land, which, we talked about this South Oak Cliff Renaissance Park earlier, which was a partnership with Four Oak Cliff and the Nature Conservancy. But Trust for Public Land and Texas Trees Foundation, they're doing this Cool Schools program, which is pretty cool. It talks a lot about what you're talking about and bringing in those amenities, so it's also a community. It becomes a park.
Yeah, Trust for Public Land is an amazing organization.
Yeah, they're doing. And you're serving on their board now, right? Is that right? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a board member for the Trust for Public Land, and it's some amazing work that's happening across the country. Land for people. That's, that's what it is. That's what it's here for. So, yeah, it's those parks, the orgs that are making it happen. Looking at the green spaces at schools and innovatively thinking about what can be done. Trying to reduce that urban heat island as much as we possibly can, taking the cement out and putting trees in. That's another one of those ways that, we look at root cause solutions. That's another group that's focused on one thing, not one thing, but a way, a lane, I guess you could say. And they're doing their part. And I like the way they're moving about it.
Yeah, that's cool. So how long have you been on that board now?
Oh, man, how long? I guess almost a year.
Yeah.
About to have my first board meeting in person in April.
That's
I think
exciting.
That's when the board meeting is. It's in April. It's in Colorado. So I'm looking forward to going out there and, meeting everybody that's on the board and learning from them and, just trying to keep that mission moving forward.
That's great. So when you squint your eyes and think about the future, what do you hope to do next? Do you have any big, hairy goals that you really want to accomplish?
Yeah, I got a lot of goals. You want like some far out goals?
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
All right. I want to turn Fort Oak Cliff, the new space, into a virtual augmented reality space.
Cool.
To where you can walk in and put on any type of VR device, and you can manipulate and do whatever you want to. I'd love for, young people to be able to come up to Fort Oak Cliff and step into the metaverse within the VRs and build a rocket ship,
I love that.
because, now technology, I mean, you can go so far. And I think about the way the world is right now, we're going to have young people being as innovative as they ever have been. And when I was growing up in school, they wouldn't have given me no opportunity to build a rocket ship, right?
Yeah, right.
At all. But now, because of, technology, we could build a rocket ship outside right now, virtually.
Right.
Because we could put the devices on and get all the pieces that it would need to take, and we could launch it.
Yeah.
And nobody else would see what's going on but us,
Right.
So I think about that a lot, because a lot of times, the realities that surround us can constrain us. And I also want our youth to be future proof. We talk about the future, but when it gets here, it's like still the future ahead of that. So I always just thinking of what's the next curve, trying to be, 25 years out, thinking about it in that way. And putting that in the minds of those who come after us, because it's on them next. But that's something that is, I've been talking about a lot. I've really been looking into the augmented virtual mixed reality world. And I think that there's so many opportunities there. I think about, even education in general, how it's going to change. I remember being in school myself, and at that time we were using encyclopedias, and then, we start having the internet. But now if I want to show some kids the savannah, we can do it, and they can feel that they're really there. If I want to show them what it looks like in Belgium, we can do it, so exposing them to that, because that is the next wave. And I want to be able to have our community be a part of it. So that's a lofty thing.
No, I think that's totally attainable.
I think it is too.
And I agree with you too, because there's something about, it's like manifesting or visualizing yourself in a space where maybe you can't be physically, but I think that's what helps us grow and pushes us and motivates us. So I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Google Earth came out.
Right.
And I was like on a street in, Innsbruck, Austria, and it was blowing my mind.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And now you can put the VRs on and turn your head and really be there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but you could put a VR on. For example, the way that I've seen it in the metaverse is like, we're doing this podcast right now. I could have put my VR on at my home and had this setting in my living room and saw you two there as well.
Yeah, Oprah's doing that, right? I think she's doing something similar.
Yeah, so it's it's limitless at this point in what could be done, but making sure that the South Oak Cliff, the super block is there too, because I really think about it, even from art, like, do we have the capacity to bring in, all the art supplies we would need to do sculptures or paintings? Probably not, but we could definitely learn how to code and build as big as a monument as we want to in an augmented world. And whenever you use a certain app on your phone or whatever, you could see it, but it's not taking up any space.
Right. And that is the future. It's funny because, we have young kids too. I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And, we've heard like, make sure your kids are reading books and get them off those video games. And my husband, though, is like totally convinced me. He's like, no, this is good.
Yeah, it is.
Like, there's problem solving.
It is.
And you're learning a new skill. And by the way, like coding, like you can get a coding job out of college and making six figures, you know?
Yes, you can.
So there's a lot of opportunity.
It is.
It's the future.
It is. I completely agree. My daughter, her favorite book that she has is Little Red Riding Hood, but it's an augmented reality Little Red Riding Hood.
Wow.
So I got an app on my phone, and I'm all the time, at least 3 times out of the week when I read to her, she want to read that book, because when I hold my phone to the page, it pops up on my screen. So it becomes like she's looking at it on my phone, and what we're reading is playing out on my phone, like in a video or it's a cartoon. And each page you turn, it does that. So yeah, it's captivating.
I need to know what app that is. That's pretty cool.
Let me see. She got so many apps on my phone now.
So how old are your kids?
My daughter is 6 years old and my son is 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. I don't know what she got too many apps on my phone. I don't know.
You'll have to get back to me and let me know.
Yeah.
I know both my kids would be really into that.
Yeah, I'll take a picture and send it to you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, well, I love that. I mean, I think, again, it just being able to see something beyond the reality that you can see in front of you is powerful. I mean, it's similar to what you're talking about as far as like grandparents or parents getting their GED at the same time as kids are doing their studies. It's being able to see a possibility. Mm-hmm. And that's inspiring and motivating. And so taking it to the next level of being augmented reality, I think it makes total sense.
That's where we're trying to go. That's my vision. Just
I love it.
Thinking of the future.
I love it. That's cool.
Thank you. Well,
Taylor, I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I'm happy to be an Oak Cliff resident and learning from you, and I can't wait to get more involved. So.
Already, well, we just put some new hoodies out, so
okay,
go ahead and get you some Oak Cliff
some merch. Yeah, I saw it on your Instagram. So.
Hurry up, they selling out.
I
didn't even get the color for my wife she wanted because it was sold out already.
Well, I heard you one time talking about how you see like for Oak Cliff like all over the country. People recognize Oak Cliff and
it's a powerful place. Man. It's where magical things happen.
That's cool. Well, thanks again.
No problem. Thank y'all for having me.